It's a beautiful day. The sky is false. I feel like it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. Touch me. Take me to that other place. Reach me. Oh, no, I'm not a hopeless case. But what you don't have, you don't need it now. What you don't know, you can feel it somehow. What you don't have, you don't need it now. It's a beautiful day. Hello, everybody. It's a beautiful day to be outside. And actually, today is Mother's Day. I usually don't walk on the weekends, but I was so joyful about outside. I got up, everybody got breakfast, and I said, I'm going to go for a walk. So I'm here and I'm really enjoying this. It's just a very short walk. I also did my check on my weight, and I'm looking at the progress, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely excited about what I'm seeing in the progress. So here's my weight. So I did pretty good for this week. I might, start working out on weekends, but I definitely feel like this was actually something I was missing in my life. I know it's sometimes I feel like I don't feel like doing this, but it has made a major difference within, my body. And so I'm wearing clothes that are feeling really loose. I'm getting excited thinking about the things that I would wear, in the future. Once I get back down to my familiar size, where all the fun stuff, I'm not saying that I didn't have fun, as at the weight that I was and being, dressed and stuff like that or whatever. Like I found some interesting things that suited me, but it's time to have another experience, especially at my age right now. So I want to be healthy, not only for myself, but for my children. And definitely do right with the health, with my kids, right? So I'm very, very, very happy about, how things is going, and it's going to be a great summer. May not be a hot girl summer, like, it's going to be definitely a summer of working, okay? And so working through the process. But it'll be a happy girl summer, like, yay! Getting to buy new things for myself. So yes. So that's where I'm at. This morning I got up, I made some bok choy and eggs, and on the side of that I had my guacamole. So the guacamole has definitely been my staple, and also my my seaweed that I've been taking every day, good for my iodine. I also have been taking on, I had bought a thing of fish oil pills from Costco's. So I've definitely been integrating the fish oils, and with the sardines, like I've been taking sardines probably like every other day. Okay, so I definitely get my omega-3s in with that too. So I'm very happy that the guacamole has definitely saved my life, especially when it comes to wanting to snack at night. So I know that midnight snacking or late night snacking has been a total downfall for me. But if I ever feel like I need to cave and have something, hey, the guac hit the spot. So, and I could still, maintain, what I'm doing. Okay. So, like I said, happy Mother's Day to y'all, you mothers. Also, keep in mind the mother of the planet. Give gratitude and thanks for her and what she's also done for us. Giving gratitude, to the Most High Source, for the creator of all things. So just being full of gratitude for everything, as a part of being, holy. And, you give thanks to both energies, both aspects, the masculine and feminine, because that's what makes us whole, right? And so understanding that it's both energies that is needed to create balance within, okay? Anywho, so last time I talked about, we talked about responsibility. And even after me having that download, the download goes further, right? So keeping along the lines of with great power becomes great responsibility. Okay? And so I said that quote came from Spider-Man, from Uncle Ben. That's his quote, right? And so I'm going to talk about something that that happened to me, and I found it interesting, right? So I was trying to get new insurance, car insurance, right? And so I was moving from my old car insurance because they went up on my bill. And I was like, I'm just gonna look for something else because it was coming up to my time of renewal, right? And so I started looking for other insurance companies. And as I started, I found like an awesome price for one. And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna cut me down about $75, right? But I got into reading the contract, and as I read the contract, they was like, okay, well, all you gotta do is sign this contract, and then it's a done deal. So I got to the contract, and it said that it wanted me to waive my PIP. And so, personal injury protection, right? And so I was just like, okay, well, it already had marked out the place where it wanted me to waive that. And it was no way around it. So I signed the first part, but then I was like, I'm going to skip over that and just go down. But it kept telling me, well, you need to finish signing. And I was like, well, I don't want to waive that. That's the whole point of having insurance. So you want me to have insurance just so that I can have roadside assistance or something like that? And basically, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's paying like $200 some for that. And so I was like, okay, so I'm not going to go through with that, obviously, because that's the whole point of having insurance, right? And so I go ahead and I check for some more. And I started to go through other ones, and some of the other ones were trying to do the same as well. And so I was like, okay, well, I got to talk to one lady, and she said, well, you're going to have issues finding certain insurance because you only been with this other one for 6 months. And I was like, yeah. I was like, but they went up on the insurance. She was like, well, they look at, how long that you're with. the insurance company. And so it's best for you to try to stay with them for like a year or something like that or whatever. That was her, giving information and stuff like that. Okay. And I was like, okay, and then I was like, that's nice to know, and hung up. So, okay, with great power with great power is great responsibility, right? So we're looking at these jobs that people have today, and they're not really being honest in what they do. If you have a job that you are doing, I understand companies have rules, okay? But if the rules of your company that you work for goes against your morals and values when it comes to helping others and people, then you're taking on a karma that you don't even realize that you're taking on. Okay? And I'm going to explain to you why. Because I'm going to pair this with the movie. Because I felt like the lady in the movie, right? The Incredibles. You remember when Mr. Incredible worked for an insurance company? And there was an elderly lady that was getting duped by the insurance company. But because of who he was in him, that's what he does. He helps people. That's the core of who he is, the center of being the hero is helping people. And he found himself stuck working a job that literally drained him of his energy and his power of who he truly is. He truly is. I ain't gonna say meant to be, because he was who he was. He was Mr. Incredible. But he was stuck to a mundane job. And this was some of these jobs here on earth are, they have little areas and things like that will cause you to not be in alignment with your higher self. Okay? And that's why it's draining you of your energy. He wasn't allowed to be who he was. And in that moment, he told the lady, he was like, okay, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but you have to do this, and that. And he was helping the woman through her insurance situation so that she can get paid. And guess what happened? He actually wound up getting fired from his job for helping somebody. Okay? And so, but in him, he lost his job. But within himself, he knew that he did the right thing. And so this world has a lot of karmic traps that we can allow ourselves to fall into just for the sake of, money, And I remember I was talking about money being a type of false power. People can actually get jobs that have them serving money. There's a scripture that says you can't have two masters. You can't have, serve God, and you can't serve mammon, which is money. And a lot of people don't even know that they are serving money, because look at it. When COVID came around and they jumped out and said, y'all got to go get shots because there's COVID coming. And if you don't, you can't work a job. And there were people that was like, I got to go get this shot because my job said so. Because your job said so? And what do? I went and got the shot. And I'm like, you don't even know what's in that thing. You're risking your body and your health for a job? And interesting too, because I was actually speaking to a woman, right? And she was saying, yeah, she said, I didn't get the shot. She said, but my two brothers got the shot. She said they got the shot a month apart from each other. And she said a couple of months down the line, both of her brothers died a month apart from each other from getting, those shots, right? That's a lot of stuff they don't want to talk about, right? But it's like, well, what are people supposed to do? Well, we are here we have, as spiritual beings, all of you are spiritual beings, but we realize that there are things and people and places in this world that are not spiritual. They're not grounded in that. Their very existence goes against it, actually. And if you realize that you're in one of those positions and one of those places, that has you going against your spiritual knowing and truly of who you are causing a blockage within yourself, because it's causing you to engage in the unrighteousness and the things that it's doing. Okay? So, what are we supposed to do? Being light in dark places. And so a lot of people have jobs. If that job exists and you are blessed to understand the inner workings of that, then, sometimes like what's happening now in this world is we are put under pressure. But all this pressure that's happening, I know it seems harsh and evil, but we making diamonds, baby. Okay? So everything is going to come to clarity. But first, everything that is causing everything to be locked down and held back has to be revealed, so that we know and we understand, the inner workings of this, so that this can never occur again, because we gained the wisdom and from it. Okay? Understanding, about certain people like politicians and stuff, taking on money and from sponsors and things to let other people, take hold of these positions so that they can change laws and things like that. We'll have to learn from that, so that when we do establish something new, it's going to be on a more solid foundation, So, people are worried about AI taking over everything, okay? You don't really have to worry about those things, because what I read something that says 75% of people would be willing to switch over to a product or a company or something like that aligns with their values. Oh, she is so gorgeous. Y'all look very pretty today. Oh, so cute, super cute. All right. And so, to align with their values, right? It was a mother and daughter. They were both dressed in yellow, and they were doing the twinning thing, and they look so adorable, right? Today, you can go to any company and try to contact them. You can't even get a hold to a representative. And you know what? Older people do not like that. They put everything up in this do-it-yourself where they don't have to do it. And you go here online and you do it. And not only that, it's not even no discount or anything. When it's done, it's like they pretty much made you do all the work. Made you do all the footwork and everything. You can't even ask the questions that you want to ask, because there ain't nobody to ask but the AI representative. And you're not really being guided through anything. If you were to create a company that is real personable and you get to actually speak to a real person, that feels good to people. And it also makes them feel like their money is in good hands and not in the hands of some robot or some computer, right? If the way we change the world is not being more like them, it's about doing things people love. And that's person to person contact. They're trying to get rid of that and trying to drive the world to be real cold, right? But we're not trying to be cold. We're trying to be light. We're trying to be a people that is connected. So what's happening is they're taking away our connection so that we can't really be connected to anything, right? But we bring the connection back. If you ever have a company, you don't have to worry about going against a company that's going to be all technology. Because if you bring back a company and you add the humanness back into that company, you've already got people sold. You know, you won people, you won customers, okay? You know, you can establish an insurance company. For me personally, if I was president, when it comes to stuff like insurance, since insurance is something that's mandatory, that we all have to have, I think that there should be government insurance. That if you can't get it from anybody else, there should be like a basic insurance that you can get from the government, that anybody who wants to drive can get the basic coverage, and it be a basic price. Because if it's going to be mandatory, then they should be able to provide that and not leave us at the hands of these criminals that's not really providing us with anything. Okay? So putting us in a worse position, you know, paying out thousands, you know, and then still not to receive anything. Okay? So there are different things that the way I think, you know, how it should go. I don't think that, you know, the government should be putting more pressure on people. We can make things lighter. We can have cheaper gas if we just learn how to get along with the people over there with the gas. Okay? Stop starting shit. We will have cheaper gas. Okay? Be better people to trade with. You know, we provide a need, you provide a need. You get what you need, I get what I need, we're good. You know, just being better people can make the world better. But there's a lot of people that's out there starting shit who really think that their way of control is the way to go, and it's never been. You know, just because it worked for them in the past, we are people that have awakened, and we're not going to allow that control to continue on. Okay? So, because we don't want the control, we want freedom. I was basically trying to get you to understand that everybody is going to have a chance to experience power on some kind of level, great or small. And it can start as something as small as you on your job. You know, it's about the earth being the root chakra, right? And the root, and you think about also in the body, the root chakra in the area of the start of the spine. Okay, it's about having a spine, growing a spine on this earth at this time right now. It's about growing a daggone spine. Okay, you know, running around scared. Oh, you can't be a being of God with no spine. Like I don't have no other way to say that. You can't be spineless and just yielding to everything. You have to be able to stand up for something. You know, just barely getting by and existing doesn't is not evolving. It doesn't get you where you need to go. Okay? Because there are things that have to exist within you in order to evolve. Almost like I said, like this, we're like a seed. Okay? And being a seed, there's a certain kind of nutrients and a certain kind of things that you need to absorb down here on this planet. And it's like an understanding that you need to gain that's going to help you to grow. And being fearful of everything and allowing everything to consume you is not becoming. Okay? So with these certain responsibilities that we are given, and you may think that they are small, you know, in each one you are tested to be righteous in. I don't care if a company tells you, because it's their policy. Is it right by humans to do? To have contracts that are misleading, you know, the wording in the contracts are so, how can you say, you know how you read these contracts and the way they word things can lead you to misunderstand things. And so what you're thinking that you're getting in the contract, you're not, because you misunderstood the wording, because it has all these legalities and the ways how they write certain things. And so, and people say, about AI. And that's another thing about AI. I used to use AI for, if there's not a contract that I fully didn't really understand what it was saying, I would take a picture of it, put it in AI, and ask it to explain the pros and the cons of what can happen in this contract, right? So I used AI to run down contracts. I was like, simplify this and tell me what I'll be getting and what I won't be getting if I were to continue in this contract. So yeah, you can get AI to read contracts. You know, you can get, I know I'm talking about AI, I've been delivered, right? Yeah, I also had AI, when it came down to online stuff, getting that, car, if you got a car contract that you're about to sign on a new vehicle, what is it that you're actually paying for and what is the commission they would be getting and all that, just outlining all that stuff, call it out. Why is your commission this on my car and now I'm paying all this, Anywho, but why does all that have to happen? Why does it have to always, we have to go that far to protect ourselves? So, my thought is, I know it's hard for people to see the world as a utopian society. But what if we start putting our, where your attention goes, your energy flows? What if we actually start to think towards this utopian society and what it will look like and what would it be? And started to, be the change in the world that we wanted to see. Okay? And so we're losing these companies that they're so-called, these major companies. It's not even actually losing them. It's actually like we're separating ourselves from them so that we can build things that align with our true values. And that's how we make the world better. Because they're greedy. They're doing it for the money. They're not even creating insurance. Insurance is not even insurance no more. You know what I'm saying? It's not to insure you. It's that we get all your extra money. Okay? And we put nothing out. We're not giving anything. It's like getting your money for nothing. These are people who are getting thousands of dollars a month from you without actually having to provide anything. That's like a cash grab. It's like, why do you exist? And so It's just everybody's trying to find a different way to get into your pocket without providing anything. And it's the same thing I was talking about the money. Money is just paper. It doesn't have any value that backs it. But you're going through, jumping through hoops like a circus poodle to get it, to access it, so that you can have a certain, things. You know what I'm saying? And so actually it has us chasing just fake things. Yes, it's real to us right now because we're living, but this world is for us to create. Try to think of them as different opportunities and see where God wants you to create. Okay, because that is what's needed right now. We need the creators to come forth. Okay, they're talking about what people doing certain jobs and stuff like that. The AI is taking over. If you got a business that you want to raise up right now, that can go against that AI stuff, and you can really be making some money, especially when you put the ethics and the morals out about your business. People are more liable to change to that, to support that. Okay, so if it brings more jobs for people, if it keeps money flowing and circulating, that's needed right now. So a lot of people are afraid of taking that type of power into their hands because of the responsibility. I understand a lot of people just want to go to work and then come home and chill. Hey, I get it, definitely. But right now, with all these big corporations backing, these people that are actually trying not to cooperate with us, that are actually working against us to harm us, we have to grow a spine. That's what we're called to do right now, grow a spine, and become the back, to become the spine, and to be the ones that's holding, God's people. Okay? Okay. I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, whatever responsibilities that you are taking on this earth, you have to use it in a way that represents the evolved being that you are becoming, or that you are, but at the same time are becoming. Okay, so have a happy Mother's Day. My glasses are coming. Is it? Oh, okay. All right. So have a happy Mother's Day, and I'll talk to you again. Bye.